Hello, everybody. I am WPTV anchor Chris Gilmore here with another edition of Tax Tuesday. As we are getting closer to the final deadline of April 15th, we are bringing in the experts for you to get your questions answered during your lunch break. We do have our chat section now officially open for those of you who have some questions. We want to answer them. And obviously, we're bringing in one of our local tax specialists and strategists, Ms. Chantel Brown of A-Class Tax Solutions. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and you've been getting a lot of questions since we started this series
Yes.
in your office, particularly about the topics we were talking about last week, primarily unemployment and unemployment fraud. We had a lot of people in our chat section last week who said they were trying to get their unemployment documents only to find out that their identity's been stolen. So what did you uncover and what were the questions that you received in the past week since we've spoken to you?
So one of the things that had been kind of consistent is the inability to reach out or get in contact with the Florida Department of Economic that handles the unemployment. So I have several people that reached out to me saying that they had reached out to them, but was not able to get in contact with them. But then I did have someone that I had spoken with as well who had a situation. It was reported, unemployment office reported it to her job that she had claimed unemployment. And when it was brought out, it wasn't actually her because naturally she had worked, throughout the pandemic. So what happened was she was provided with a process that I would like to share with with yourself, Chris, as well as the viewers today.
Go for it.
So as we mentioned last week, the first step is as soon as you identify any type of identity theft, the first thing you're going to want to do is report it to the local authority. So whether that be the police department in your local city, or if you're in the county area, you're going to want to report it to the sheriff's office. Once you do that report and you do get the documentations of the report, the next thing that you're going to want to do is contact the Federal Trade Commission. So you're going to want to contact the Federal Trade Commission to report that there has been some form of identity theft with your Social Security number with the unemployment office. And then you're going to also want to then contact the IRS, because you want to make sure that the IRS is aware of what's going on. And you're going to want to file there's a form with the IRS that you're going to want to file, which is form 14039. That's form 14039. You're going to want to file that with the IRS. And you're also going to want to contact your current or previous employer. And you're going to want to
form 14039, Ms. Brown.
The form 14039 is the identity theft affidavit that you would file with the IRS. So what generally happens with this form is once this is filed with the IRS, along with your supporting documents, so that's going to be your police report, it is going to then trigger the IRS to issue you a PIN number. So whenever you're getting ready to file your taxes, you're going to need what is called the IP PIN number. So you wouldn't be able to have identity theft on your tax return any farther because they would need that PIN number in order to file for you or under your Social Security number. So we want to make sure that we take those steps so that because what we don't want to happen, as I mentioned last week, is we don't want you filing for unemployment if it wasn't actually income that you received. So you want to report it as fraud and make sure that you are protecting yourself as well as your Social Security number with those steps.
Okay, so an update for you guys from last week. As Ms. Brown said, you want to contact the FTC and the IRS, and you'll want to get that identity fraud affidavit that we just had up on your screen so you know what it looks like. A lot of helpful tips here. So if you can't join us live, you are going to want to play this back so you can get all the information. And we are already getting really active in the comment section. Thank you guys.
Yes.
Some people have their returns already, but we have one from King CeeLo. Like that name. He says, when do the direct deposits start coming out? We asked you this last week too. People still want to know about it, Ms. Brown.
Right. So actually, so to go in without a long story, there is a act called the PATH Act, PATH Act, PATH Act. And with that, it has, when that was implemented, it was implemented in order to reduce fraud. So under normal filing years, once that act was enacted, refunds wasn't released until end of February, right? So with us this year having a late start of the filing season, it was originally stated that the refunds will be starting to be issued in March if they had earned income tax credit, child tax credit, or the American Opportunity Tax Credit, which is an education credit. However, those refunds actually started hitting taxpayers' bank accounts as of Monday. So as of yesterday, those refunds have started hitting your bank, have started hitting bank accounts. It's my understanding that the irs.gov where's my refund link is not actively working for everyone because it hasn't been totally updated, but we do have clients who are receiving their refund although they're unable to see it on their website. So it started they started fully issuing refunds as of yesterday, Monday.
We have some of our viewers here confirming that information. Denise Stone says she tried the "Where's my tax refund?" and it keeps saying I'm putting in the incorrect information. So don't be alarmed, is what you're saying.
Correct, because it's happening across the nation that they have not been actively updating that as of right now.
Okay, so be patient. It's a process, and it's a unique year for tax filing too. So keep that in mind. One question we had from you, just to get the ball rolling. Many people switched from working in the office to working from home, and we want to know, how does that affect their tax benefits? Working from home. What are the working from home tax benefits?
So right now, unfortunately, the way that the tax code is set up, there is no tax benefits right now. Under the old tax code, we did have what was called unreimbursed employee expenses, which was Form 2106, I believe, where we would have been able to claim those expenses under the old tax form. I mean, under the old tax code, but under the new tax code, under the from the Trump administration, that deduction has been eliminated. It used to be if you itemized your deductions, then you could take that. So as of right now, there are no tax benefits that you're able to receive if you are an employee that's working from home. So what my suggestion, as well as with a lot of other professionals, is that suggestion is that you talk to your job and maybe ask them for a stipend, if it's requiring that you buy your own office supplies, that they anything that they would have normally provided to you, is that you ask them to provide that to you right now, even though you're working from home, in order to lessen what your overhead expenses would be, since there is no tax write-off for you at this time.
It doesn't hurt to ask. So
Correct. Yeah. I'm a big believer that all they can do is say no.
and there's no such thing as a bad question. Speaking of, we are monitoring the comment section, guys. We are live as you guys are during your lunch break. So now's the time. If you have any questions, we are here to answer them. We have the best person who I know in West Palm Beach who can get this answered, and that's obviously a tax specialist. So if you guys have any questions you need to answer, go ahead and throw them our way. We'll do our best. But in the meantime, we have another one for you, Miss Brown. What do people need to know? And I know a lot of people in my workplace are finding themselves in the situation because it was a good buying market this year in terms of housing. But what do people need to know if they refinance their home or bought and sold a home this year? What are the things they need to know for tax purposes?
So what I would say is, if you refinanced your home, depending on when you did it, you're definitely going to want to make sure that you collect the 1098 form that is provided for mortgage interest, so that you can capitalize off of the interest that you had already paid, plus the interest that was paid once you refinanced your home.
Okay,
If the
1098 form.
So the form, I don't know the exact form number, Chris.
we'll put a pin in that. We'll come back to that. The 1098 form. Or actually, no, Allison's quick with it. There she goes.
Oh, thank you, Allison. So it's the form that is specifically for mortgage interest, and it is provided to you by the financial institution in which you're paying your mortgage to. So this year, more than likely, if you refinance, you're probably going to have two of those forms. So you want to make sure that you are having both of them at hand. Because if you are able to, depending on how much you paid in mortgage interest as well as other itemized deductions, that can definitely be a benefit for you in reducing your taxable income.
Okay, good to know.
And then on the other side of that, if you sold a home this year, if it is your main home that you sold, so it's still reported to the IRS that you sold a home, but as long as the profit, as long as the profit was lower than $250,000, what you walked away with after considering what you sold the home for, what you originally purchased the home for, as well as any improvements that you made to the home. If your net profit on the sale of your main home is below $250,000, then there is no tax consequences. So you wouldn't be taxed on that.
Okay, we got another question popping up here. Why Robert Karpoff? Any tax breaks for renters?
No, there is no tax break for renters. The tax break really goes to the people who you're renting from.
Okay, but one break that we have talked about in the news world is the COVID relief. Based on where you are and depending on your county, you might be able to get some tax or rent, not tax relief, but rent relief, depending on
Right.
where you file. So you might want to look into that. That's one direction I can help point you in. But right below him, Janet has an interesting question. You see there, her question is, my husband that got unemployment, but they didn't ask to take taxes out. How can we do our taxes when we already had taxes taken away from unemployment? So we talked about that last week. I remember when it came up, Ms. Brown, we were saying that there's an option that you can click on or select once you're getting your unemployment to have those federal withholdings already removed before you receive it, so you don't have to deal with that bill. I don't know if
Correct.
you look into her question, but how would you approach this one?
So with this question, what I would say, because we're hindsight at this point, if it was from unemployment from 2020, is that when you file your taxes, just depending on what your other income is, all things considered, filing status and all things, that there is a great possibility of something that we're seeing right now, a lot of, is that you will have a tax balance or a tax due if there was no withholdings from your unemployment. So the only suggestion that I have is moving forward, if you are or anyone who is receiving unemployment currently, is that you definitely log into your portal or reach out to the Unemployment Administration so that you can have them start withholding taxes, because unemployment is a taxable form of income. And as of today's date, it has not been stated otherwise, nor have they stated that the pandemic portion, which put a lot of people over the top, was not taxable. So I would say at this point, it's kind of hindsight. So you will file your taxes, and then there would probably be some tax consequences to that. And if you are receiving it, it's definitely have taxes withheld.
Yeah, moving forward though, it's just me. I would go ahead and select that because you can't spend money you don't have. So
Correct. Correct. And it's easier for them a lot of times, and I know that it's hard, right? So times are still hard because the real thing is that there's still a lot of people who are not working. But just think about it as if you were on your job, if you were a W-2 earner, your employer will be withholding taxes. So you want to go ahead and withhold it, because it's easier to withhold it throughout the year than to have to come up with a lump sum of it at the end of the year.
Okay. All right. We see you guys conversing with each other, but talk to us too in the comment section. We're
Right.
here. We see your comments. If you have any questions, please go ahead and throw them our way. We got one here from Victoria. She says, if someone else filed, here we go again with the unemployment fraud. It's crazy. And this time, Social Security number stolen too. But it's coming up more often than what we thought, especially after last
Right.
summer. We're seeing more cases of it. She says, if somebody filed under my Social Security number in another state for unemployment, but I worked the whole time, what do I need to do? I live in Florida. They filed in Ohio. I can't imagine your surprise when you found that out. I don't know if you just joined us, Victoria, but we did have some forms up on the screen at the very beginning of this Facebook Live if you want to go ahead and replay it once it's complete. But Ms. Brown, you could go ahead and reiterate. I'm sure you don't.
No. So Victoria, what I would say to you is you're definitely going to want to go to your local police department or sheriff office, depending on who service your area, and report identity theft. I would also recommend that you contact the state of Ohio, so that you can let them know as well. You're also going to want to contact the Federal Trade Commission, so FTC, and report identity theft. And then you're going to want to file form 14039, which is the identity theft affidavit with the IRS, so that you can let the IRS know with your supporting documents that there has been fraud on your account or on your Social Security number.
Okay.
And then I would also say that if they filed unemployment, that you contact your employer as well, because it's going to be affecting your employer as well with their unemployment rate. So I would have you contact them as well.
There you go. Another fire put out by
Yes.
our tax specialist. We have another question here for you at WPTV, and this is going to be a learning moment for me too, because I don't know, I never heard this term, but you could define it for us. It's about the look back rule. I'm sure you've heard about that. We
Correct.
talked a little bit about it last week. How can parents use that rule to maximize their child credit?
So what that rule is for is to help us with the earned income tax credit. And because the IRS and Congress, they understand that a lot of people were out of work. So a lot of people earned less money in 2020 than they did in 2019. So in order to make it not as big of a blow to you on your taxes, or as it relates to your taxes, they are allowing us to the look back credit. What simply means is, if you had earned income in the tax year of 2019, we are able to include that on your 2020 taxes to see which income is going to give you the highest rate for the earned income tax credit, in order to make sure that you are getting the best refund that's possible for you based on your income for either 2020 or 2019. So we have seen that help tremendously with some of our clients that were in financial need because they did earn less income in 2020.
Okay, good to know. Here's another good question that just popped up. We are watching. Thank you for asking, Debbie. Here's your question. Are the Palm Beach County business grants taxable? That's a good question.
Yes, so the grants from Palm Beach County that was provided under the CARES Act is taxable to you at 100%. Yes. And a lot of people, I know a lot of my clients, I received calls maybe about a week or two ago because they had started sending out the 1099 forms. So the 1099 miscellaneous forms that reports that as taxable income to you or to your business. Yes.
Can you get that similar with your unemployment? Can you get the taxes removed before you start spending it?
No, not unfortunately, not with the CARES Act. The monies that came from the CARES Act, directly from Palm Beach County, they were really given that based off of. So it was, the initial one was $25,000, and however, if you had received the grant, I believe for the EIDL, which was the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program, or any money from the Paycheck Protection Program, that it reduced what you were eligible for, but then they were just mailing checks out. But at the same time, I was advising my clients it was going to happen because they were also having us fill out a Form W-9, which is a direct reflection of it being taxable.
So you might not want to spend all that money. Leave
Right.
a little bit. Okay, keep it coming with the questions, guys. As you eat your lunch, don't choke on your food, but keep it coming with the questions. We have another one from you here. This is a situation that a lot of people found themselves in with the pandemic. People picking up side jobs, whether it's delivery driving or Uber lifting, whatever. A lot of people found themselves in a situation like that in 2020. What advice do you have for those people who are considered gig workers?
So, there is a benefit to that, and that there is a new tax credit, which is the family. I think it's I can't remember the exact name, but the form is 7202, where
Okay.
it's allowing family leave and sick, I think is what that one is called, the family leave and sick pay. So if you have a net profit because you did become a gig worker, or you did you did some type of gig services. So whether it was Uber, whether it was DoorDash, this credit will allow that if at any point you were unable to work because you had to self-isolate due to COVID-19, or you had to care for a sick family member, or due to COVID, then, or if you have school-age kids, so children below the age of 18 or 18 and under, if you have any of those things, then this credit will allow you to, or this form will allow you to get a refundable credit, which generally offsets the self-employment tax, and it's also helping a lot of people be able to put monies back into their pockets.
And what do they base that credit off of? Is it how much you would normally make during a regular work cycle?
So it's two things, right? So originally it's based off of, so if you had to do up to 10 days, if you had to self isolate or you had any COVID related illnesses, or if you had to care for a family member or someone who had those and you were unable to either work or telework in your whether it was a gig work or self-employment, so any income that is generated for yourself outside of a W-2, if you were unable to work, is up to 10 days. And that credit was like $530 per day. So you could get up to $5,030 for just that portion. And then with the kids, it's up to 50 days. And anyone, especially if you live in Palm Beach County, at the beginning of the school year, it was all remote. So there wasn't an option for you to be able to send your kids to school. And we know a lot of families or parents who had to stay home to provide um, care for their kids because one, they were at home, but also they found themselves as teachers. So if that happened to you and you had kids, a child or children below the age of 18, is up to 50 days. And that credit is like half of the 530. So it's about $245. I'm sorry, like $265 per day up to 50 days.
Mm-hmm. It makes a big difference.
It does. It absolutely does.
That's for sure.
Right.
All right, guys, we are still monitoring the comment sections. Like I said, we've got about 10 minutes left, so get your questions in while you can. Another question we have for you. Some people getting reports of scams. Here we go again with the scams popping up. What are some steps people can take to avoid being scammed out of their refund? How do you protect your money?
Okay, so the first thing is we have to be like crystal clear. The IRS is not going to contact you initially by phone, right? So they're not going to contact you initially by phone and say that you need to pay anything back. If you are audited or if something has happened and now you owe the IRS money back, they are going to contact you via mail, snail mail. They don't send you an email. They're not going to call you on the phone. And if they do call you on the phone, they will. Because if they've already mailed something out to you, then it's possible that they'll call. If they call and they ask you for any monies, if they say that you need to pay them now via credit card, via gift card, via Starbucks card, like whatever it is, that is not the IRS. The IRS agent is not allowed to collect any source of funds from you. Mm-hmm. So if it was the IRS, they would then direct you to their website, which is what we're seeing on the screen right now. They would direct you to a secured online payment method that is directly connected with irs.gov, so irs.gov.
Yeah, make sure you get that web address for where
right. Yes. Make sure it's not irs.com, it's not irs.net. The IRS website is irs.gov. So we just want to make sure that we are vigilant. I've had it happen on a number of occasions with clients, and what I have my clients do is merge me on the call. I speak to the people and then I advise them that I'm going to call the local police department, which I do, and I bring the detective. I tell them this is what's going on and bring them on the line, and 9 times out of 10 they hang up. And if you try to call them back, they won't answer.
That call ends real quick.
Exactly. So we just want to make sure that if an IRS agent contacts you, that you ask them. And because I know what happens a lot of times is we get afraid because nobody wants to have any bad dealings with the IRS. But if that is the case and they're saying that they're from the IRS. And Chris, what I'm hearing a lot of now is Social Security Administration. So there's a lot of calls coming saying that they're Social Security. What I would do is I would Google what the numbers are directly for those people and then contact them directly. That way you are not wasting your money or paying out something, because what happens is once you send that money, you will never get it back.
That's sad. Yeah. Don't cheat yourself. At the end of the day. Kimberly, thank you for asking a question here. We are here for you. She's asking, will the IRS be extending the due date if you have to pay on your return?
So as of today's date, Kimberly, that's not something that that is being considered as far as I know. So right now that you will have the option to extend your time to file, which is the 6-month automatic extension that will, as long as filed by April 15th, it extends you the ability to file by October 15th. But there is nothing saying that you would have an extension of time to pay at this time. But as we saw last year, anything can happen. I'm going to assume it just depends on if anything happens to change with what's going on right now with the coronavirus.
Okay, and there you have the application to extend. We talked about whether or not you might want to do that this tax filing season because of the pending stimulus bill that we are all waiting for and those direct payments. What about, here's a follow-up to her question that I have. And in this case, you see she has to pay $4,400, which is not a little bit of money at all, but will they work with you in terms of payment plans if you contact them?
Absolutely. So if you are having, when you're filing your taxes, you have the option with your tax filings to file an installment agreement where you can request the IRS saying that, like, I understand that I have this tax bill, but right now it would be unaffordable for me to do that all at once. So I would like to extend the, to create an installment agreement. There is a fee for that form. I'm not exactly sure of the fee, but I know that there's a one-time fee for that form. And then you also will pay interest, but you won't pay any penalties, and it gives you an extension of time. Like, so monthly, if you have $4,400 you have to pay, maybe you can pay $50 to $100 per month until you get that balance paid in full.
Yeah, makes it a lot easier to swallow.
Absolutely.
Big, especially after a year like we've had. Some questions that I'm just seeing popping up. People asking James here if you think there's going to be any delay with the IRS and tax filings due to COVID. Any indication so far?
There's no indications, and right now, like I said, the IRS has started. They've started actively filing the returns that we were for sure not going to come out until next month, and they started paying those as of yesterday. So as of right now, we don't see any. There's nothing trending that's showing that there will be any type of delays in either the filing or the payment of refunds.
Okay. Taking this all in, Ms. Brown, after all the questions you've seen and the conversations we've had the past 3 weeks, is there anything that you think the people who are waiting to file, getting ready to file, should really know?
So what I would say is, I know, and I think we've said this on a previous segment, that there's a lot of do-it-yourself tax filers. And what I would say to you is you definitely want to talk to a tax professional if your circumstances are if you're finding that your circumstances are different than they have been in the past, because you want to make sure that you are filing correctly, that you're claiming whatever it is income wise or even expense wise that you are legally able to do. And you want to make sure that you're able to take advantage of all of the that the tax code has to offer you, because there has been a number of changes, which is for the better for individuals as well as for small business owners. So you just want to make sure that you're taking advantage of the full tax code. So I definitely recommend that you speak to a tax professional, someone that can help guide you through making sure that you're filing your taxes the most effective and efficient way possible for 2020.
Okay, because ultimately you want to get your credits and avoid the audit. No one wants to see
Absolutely.
that.
No audit.
Guys, that's we see your questions, and we'll be back next week for those of you guys who want to join us again. But that's our session of Tax Tuesday here on WPTV. We got a lot of questions answered. We thank you for being so active in the comment section. We are ramping up again, getting closer every day to April 15th, that deadline.
Yes.
So if this helped you at all, feel free to share it. We are going to be reposting this recorded segment on our social media and streaming services. And if you have any questions for Ms. Brown, you can always find her at A-Class Tax Solutions. She'll be working, all through the week up until next Tuesday. It's a very busy time period for her. And us as well here at WPTV, as we try and get you all the information that you need in order to safely and quickly get your refunds. It's been a tough year, and we could all use the money. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And we hope to see you again next Tuesday.
Yes, thank you.